welcome to another edition of Satyavani. I hope everyone's keeping safe. And for the news bulletin today, we'll begin with the COVID update with Trisha.
Thank you, Rebecca. The COVID update for today is total number of cases in India is at 2.74 crores. Total number of active cases has seen decline. It's at 24.19 lakhs. Recovered cases are 2.46 crores. Total number of deaths, 3.15 lakhs. Live updates of cases. Delhi is at 1,072 cases. Mumbai, 1,266 cases. Kolkata, 1,489 cases. Bengaluru, 5,949 cases. And Chennai, 2,779 cases, which came in today with recent reports. Moving on to Mansi for further updates.
Thank you, Trisha. Nothing stabilization of the second wave in India, says Centre. The Centre Thursday said that the country is nothing a stabilization of the second wave of COVID-19 in India. It is reassuring that we are on the downswing of the COVID wave, and it will be sustained if restrictions open up systematically as the time comes. Dr. V.K. Paul, member Health Niti Aayog, said during a briefing. Meanwhile, amid the crippling shortage of vaccine in several states, the health ministry said that more than 1.84 crore doses of COVID-19 vaccines are still available with states and union territories, and they will recover over 11 lakh doses within the next 3 days. Earlier today, Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal sought procurement of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine as soon as possible to inoculate children. This comes after the US pharma company sought fast track approval for its jab in India. The US major has told Indian authorities that its vaccine is suitable for everyone aged 12 or above, can be stored for a month at 2 to 8 degrees. We should procure this vaccine as soon as possible for our children, Kejriwal tweeted. Now, some national news. Government terms WhatsApp legal challenge an act of defiance, emphasizing that right to privacy is not absolute and comes with reasonable restrictions. The government termed American Instant Messenger WhatsApp decision to challenge its new IT rule on traceability in Delhi High Court as an act of defiance, accusing the Facebook owned company of engaging in an unfortunate attempt to prevent the implementation of new laws governing social media companies. Any operations being run in India are subject to laws of the land. WhatsApp refusal to comply with the guidelines is a clear act of defiance of a measures whose intent can certainly not be doubted, the government said in a combative rebuttal to the company's decision to petition the court against the implementation of new IT rules, which, among other things, mandate companies to give out the original source of an unlawful inflammatory viral messages within 72 hours. Amid all allegations that rollout of the new laws would impact the privacy of citizens, as WhatsApp would have to do anyway to end-to-end encryptions of user chat, IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad came out with an explanation saying the government is committed to ensure the right of privacy to all its citizens, but at the same time it is also the responsibility of government to maintain law and order and ensure national security. Now moving on to Abdi for more national updates.
Thank you, Mansi. Two doses of different COVID-19 vaccines not a cause of concern. Niti Aayog member V.K. Paul. Any person getting different vaccines in the two slotted doses is not a cause of concern for that individual, Niti Aayog member V.K. Paul said on May 27. Paul, who is also the head of India's COVID-19 task force, however, said that healthcare workers should ensure that the protocol of administering two doses of the same vaccine should be followed. Our protocol is clear that we are giving two doses of the same vaccine. What happened is the cause of concern in Uttar Pradesh should be investigated. But I can say that if someone gets the second dose of a different vaccine, any significant effects are unlikely, Paul said during the routine health ministry presser. Paul also responding to a question about recent incident of villagers in Uttar Pradesh's Siddharth Nagar district who were given a dose of Covishield vaccine for the first dose and Covaxin for the second dose at a government hospital. The Uttar Pradesh incident has not reportedly led to adverse health effects in those who received the vaccine, according to state government officials. Now let's move to Vidya for further updates.
Thank you, Avni. National news. Will hold review meeting with PM during his Bengal visit tomorrow, says Mamta. West Bengal Chief Minister Mamta Banerjee will hold a review meeting over the impact of Cyclone Yas with Prime Minister Narendra Modi during his visit to the state on Friday. She said PM Modi will visit both Odisha and West Bengal on Friday to review the effects of cyclone in the two coastal states. The PM will first make a visit to Bhubaneswar, where he will hold a review meeting. He will then proceed for an aerial survey in the affected areas of Balsore, Badrag, and Purba Medinipur. Following this, PM Modi will take part in a review meeting in West Bengal as tropical cyclone Yas continues to ravage India's eastern coast. Odisha Chief Minister Naveen conducted an aerial survey to assess the extent of damage in the state today. However, the cyclonic storm weakened into a deep depression over southern Jharkhand and adjoining Odisha late on Thursday. According to the Indian Meteorological Department (IMD), it is likely to move northwestward and gradually weaken into a depression later today, the IMD said. Now moving on to Shubhankar.
Thank you, Vidya. Delhi to get first drive-through vaccination center on Wednesday. Delhi will get its first drive-through vaccination center at Akash Healthcare Super Speciality Hospital in Dwarka on May 26. Officials said on Monday. Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal will inaugurate the inoculation center. Akash Healthcare has procured 30,000 Covishield doses for inoculation of the 18 to 44 age group at the center, an official said. The jabs will be given from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It's an initiative by the Delhi government and Southwest Delhi District Magistrate, a hospital spokesperson said. We will go slow at the start to avoid rush on the road and administer 40 to 50 doses for the initial few days, DM Naveen Agarwal said. The number of doses administered per day will be increased gradually to around 300 per day, he said. Thank you. Now moving on to Shrishti for some international updates.
Thank you, Shubhankar. Moving on with some international news. Japan to let Myanmar students and interns stay after visa expires. Japan will let Myanmar citizens remain in the country legally even after their visas expire. In response to deteriorating political conditions in the Southeast Asian nation following the military coup. The exemption applies to students and technical interns who could face trouble returning home. They can choose to study or work in Japan for another 6 to 12 months, according to the plans outlined by the country's Immigration Services Agency. If the political situation in Myanmar fails to improve, these citizens will be able to apply for another extension. Japan will also accelerate the screening process for refugees and allow applicants from Myanmar to stay and work in the country without that status. Now, let's hear from Agastya for some science news.
Thank you, Shrishti, for your international update. Now, for the science news. Organic salts have been detected on Mars, said by NASA. And the detection may provide evidence that life once existed on the red planet. A study published in the Journal of Geophysical Research, Planets, have found that organic salts, such as iron, calcium, and magnesium oxalates and acetates, may be widespread in Martian surface sediments. These salts are the chemical remnants of organic compounds. Organic compounds and salts on Mars could have formed by geological processes or be remnants of ancient microbial life, NASA said in a statement. The findings were determined by lab experiments and analysis of data from the Sample Analysis at Mars, or SAM for short, a portable chemistry lab inside Curiosity's belly. If we determine that there are organic salts concentrated anywhere on Mars, we will want to investigate these further regions and ideally drill deeper below the surface where organic matter could be better preserved. While directly identifying organic salts on Mars is hard to do with the instruments like SAM, which heats Martian soil and rocks to release gases that reveal the composition of these samples, the team proposed another Curiosity experiment, the Chemistry Mineralogy Instrument, or ChemMin for short. Furthermore, Curiosity's SAM and ChemMin teams will continue to search for signals of organic salts as the rover moves into a new region on Mount Sharp in Gale Crater, And now moving on to Rebecca for the editorial of the day.
Thank you, Augusta. Now for the editorial of the day, A Paradise Lost. Knowledge forbidden, suspicious, reasonless. Why should the Lord envy them that? Can it be sin to know? Can it be death? Be it Milton's Lucifer or the presiding government's urban nexus, reason and rational has always threatened unwarranted sovereignty. Examining the recent history of expression of dissent and the desperate attempts to quash the same, I could not help but draw this analogy. A sacrilegious association stripped of its essential connotation, the two G's, God and government, aligned in their assertion of authority and unidirectional dogma. The farmers at the Singhu border, the activists out on bail, the protesters in Kashmir form the dreaded trinity of Lucifer, Beelzebub, and Mephistopheles. The ostensibly barbarous forces behind the nation's polarization into two extreme ideological positions. One can be either with the government or an anti-national. There is no in between. As the farmers commemorate 6 months of their revolutionary exhibit and march towards Delhi, like when Lucifer beckoned his legion to wage a war against the Supreme Being, I'd like to draw your attention to their undeterring and unwavering diligence as their voice of reason. What though the field be lost, all is not lost, the unconquerable will, and study of revenge, immortal hate, and the courage never to submit or yield. Albeit the stalemate continues between the government and the farmers, the latter stress upon a complete withdrawal of the existing laws. A rebellion that costed them the paradise of a life spent in compliance and comfort under the shadow of multinational corporates. A paradise, a long-lost paradise of stability, peace, and security by those protesting in campuses as agents of justice and equality. This blatant disregard of supremacy had anticipated potentially drastic ramifications, but it came with a price for the tyrannical dictator. The election results reflected the exodus of the agrarian Jat community, costing the government a significant portion of their vote bank. An air of hostility made popular, similar to the one sensed in Milton's furnace-flamed pandemonium. The fallen angels rise against the high and mighty in union. Here, man's disobedience can be cited as rendering voice to the voiceless and exercising free will, a fictional world that aptly befits the real world. People arbitrarily arrested, detained, lynched, threatened, denying any provision of dialogue and discussion, mirrors the agency denied to Michael, the fallen angel. Now we'll move on to Srijan for OPED.
Thank you, Rebecca. Today's op-ed is A Global Myth of Unshared Authority. After the world just witnessed the abduction of Roman Potravish, an opposition journalist based in Lithuania, along with his girlfriend, Mr. Potravish was abducted from Ryanair flight FR4987, which was crossing the Belarusian airspace while flying from Athens to Vilnius. It appears he was followed onto the commercial flight by members of the Belarusian KGB. Mr. Potravish, 26, now faces the vengeance of President Alexander G. Lukashenko, the 66-year-old Belarusian leader from whom he once received a scholarship of gifted students, but has since defied with unflinching zeal. Mr. Potravish is the latest in many cases of such violent measures against those who dare to have a contradictory opinion. Not going too far from our own motherland, in ominous news for free expression and media in India, a study has found that 154 journalists were arrested, detained, or interrogated between 2010 and 2020 in India. And 40% of these cases were reported in 2020 alone. Further, 9 foreign journalists also faced deportation, arrest, interrogation, and denial of entry during this time period. Called Behind the Bars Arrest and Detention of Journalists in India 2010 to 2020, the research has been done by independent journalist Geeta Seshu, as such data was obviously not available through any official sources. A dictatorship isn't the only form of unwanted authority. Most democracies, especially the ones which ran this country, have proven to be the same wolf, ironically in the same clothing. The question arises that if played with correctly, such indecent action over the independent functioning of any human being living in this wide world of ours must face some form of scrutiny and authoritative aggression from the rulers. One wonders, where does the idea of human rights come into play in all this? Europe is right now watching impotently as they decide to send a 26-year-old to Heaven's Gate with his girlfriend too detained in a Minsk prison. Even with a section of activists fighting for their lives, it does not look like it will be of any help. Now, India is listed as one of the 5 most dangerous countries for journalists. Since 2010, RSF has registered up to 5 journalist deaths here each year. This year it has reported 4 cases allegedly linking to local organized crime groups. One wonders who are these people who decide to take life away in this country. More importantly, what's their motivation, and why is it so difficult to call it a targeted attack from the motivators? One fears for his own safety while writing anything remotely related to religion and conflict in this country, where we are encouraged to not talk about such things in public by many of those around us. One wonders if they are well wishers or a part of the larger problem. One wonders how easy it is to take a being away, so swift, without any accountability from anyone whatsoever. One wonders where life leads after that. One wonders if going out there to stop it, to do something in opposition to the current, may result in the same atrocity by the next rulers. It has always been one story of harm and violence repeated across the globe, no matter the leaders. Power has apparently always been used to either gain or sacrifice in the name of whatever one's belief is. Such is the world right at this moment. One wonders who makes this society. Is it not us? I think we have found the enemy. The enemy is us. Is there any other way out than to fight? And even when we do, who do we damage? One questions the legitimacy of social revolution and social morality. How can a life consider all that and still have free will? One keeps wondering. Thank you. And now moving on to Harish for the opening bell.
Today's opening bell, stock market live updates. Nifty hits all-time high, tops 15,455. Sensex rises 300 points. SBI, RIL rise 1% each. Following the financial news of the day. Paytm targets $3 billion IPO report. Indian fintech startup Paytm is aiming to raise about 218 billion rupees in an initial public offering late this year. Bloomberg News reported on Thursday, citing a person familiar with the matter. The company, formerly called 197 Communications Limited, plans to list in India around November and is targeting a valuation of around $25 billion to $30 billion, the report said. The 197 board plans to meet this Friday to formally approve the IPO according to the report. Paytm, backed by Japan's SoftBank Group, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway Inc., and China's Ant Financial, did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. Its IPO plans come at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic has fueled demand for digital payment platforms in India, intensifying a battle for market share with Alphabet Inc.'s Google and Facebook Inc. owned WhatsApp Pay. Paytm's chief executive told Reuters in January that the fintech firm could turn profitable this year and would soon look to list. The startup offers a digital payment platform for merchants, money transfers, and bill payments across India. Thank you. Now let's move on to Shubhankar for the cartoon of the day.
Thank you, Harish. Now moving on to the cartoon of the day. Today's cartoon is by Satish Acharya. In a democracy, you believe it or not. In a dictatorship, you believe it or else. Now moving on to Sanyukt for more updates.
Thank you, Shubhankar, for the cartoon of the day. Well, sometimes I imagine that how nicely cartoons produce a clear image of the situation. That too with a pinch of salt. Well, let's hear the crime news. Man fatally shoots his wife for denying sex, then throws 3 minor children in Ganga Canal. Police in Muzaffarnagar on Wednesday arrested a 35-year-old man for allegedly murdering his 28-year-old wife and throwing his 3 minor children into Ganga Canal. Police said the crime occurred on Tuesday after the accused, identified as Pappu of Besdi village, was denied sex by his wife Dolly. How it happened? According to the police, Pappu began his spree Tuesday afternoon, shooting Dolly in the head after she refused to have sex with him before taking his 3 children, Sania 5, Vansh 3, and Arshita, 13 months old, to the Ganga Canal and pushing them into the water. Thereafter, he fled, but the police succeeded in nabbing him the following morning. The bodies of the minors are yet to be found. The accused said that his wife was spreading his physical advances for last 15 days, which made him angry. Pappu had warned his wife that he would kill her if she do not do it. When she refused again on Tuesday, Pappu allegedly shot in the head. After killing the wife, the accused was worried what would happen to their children, so he killed them too. A report by the Times of India quoted a local police officer. The report further stated that the now deceased woman had tied the knot with Pappu's elder brother around 10 years ago. After he passed away, she married Pappu. Now over to Agre for the health news.
Thank you, Sayuk. Steady decline in daily COVID cases in India in the last 20 days. The Union Health Ministry Joint Secretary Love Agarwal said that daily recoveries are continuing to outnumber the fresh infections for the last 2 weeks, and there is a constant decline in the country's active caseload. The Union Health Ministry said on Thursday that there is a steady decline in daily cases of coronavirus disease since May 7th, when India saw 4,14,188 people testing positive for the viral disease, the highest single-day spike since the beginning of the pandemic last year. Addressing a press conference on overall COVID-19 situation in the country, Health Ministry Joint Secretary Love Agarwal said, after the peak of May 7th, the daily cases in India declined to 3,48,421 on May 12th, and on May 17th, the daily cases dropped below the 3 lakh mark. Today, around 2,11,000 cases have been reported daily. Daily cases have not breached the 3 lakh mark since May 17th. Many states and union territories have opted for complete lockdown or lockdown-like restrictions to arrest the raging spread of coronavirus disease during the second wave, which proved to be successful. Maharashtra, Delhi, Chhattisgarh and Uttar Pradesh, which were the worst hit states in India, have seen a significant drop in daily cases, death, positivity rate, active cases and an increase in recovery and discharges. During Thursday's press conference, Agarwal said that it is crucial to identify COVID-19 cases as early as possible and more tests should be conducted. From 11th to 17th February, we were conducting 6,80,000 tests on a daily basis. The number of tests have now increased by 3.1 times. Since last week, nearly 2.1 tests have been conducted daily. Now, moving on to Arush for sports news.
Thank you, Agre, and it's always good to hear about a decline in COVID cases and deaths. Now, continuing with the sports news for the day, Zinedine Zidane resigns as Real Madrid manager. Zinedine Zidane has decided to resign as Real Madrid coach, the Spanish side confirmed on Thursday. Sources told ESPN the decision was made on Wednesday after Zidane had asked the club for a few days to consider his future. Later on Wednesday, he confirmed the move to Madrid's board and then the squad. Real beat Villarreal 2-1 in their final game of the La Liga season on Saturday, but that was not enough to overtake rivals Atletico Madrid, who secured a 2-1 comeback win at Real Valladolid to clinch the trophy. ESPN reported last week that Real wanted Zidane to see out his contract until 2022, but were already making plans for his departure, with Massimiliano Allegri and club legend Raul being considered as replacements. Zidane, 48, returned to the Real Madrid job in 2019, having previously been in charge from 2016 to 2018. Before that, he spent 5 years at the club as a player, worked as an assistant to Carlo Ancelotti and coached B team Castilla before being offered the first team job in January 2016. He won an unprecedented 3 consecutive Champions League trophies in 2016, 2017 and 2018, as well as the club's first La Liga title in 5 years in 2017. He first resigned in May 2018, saying he believed the squad would benefit from a change of coach. Brief, tumultuous reigns for Julen Lopetegui and Santiago Solari followed before Zidane agreed to return in March 2019. An atypical 2019-20 season with a 3-month La Liga hiatus due to the coronavirus pandemic ended in triumph with another league title win after Zidane's side won 10 of their final 11 games post-lockdown. And with that, we move to Agastya for entertainment news for the day.
Thank you for your slightly heartbreaking news for all Real Madrid fans. Arush, it's really a tragedy to see him go away. Anyway, moving on with the entertainment news. Brad Pitt granted joint custody of children with Angelina Jolie after a court battle. Months after back-to-back court hearings with his ex-wife Angelina Jolie, actor Brad Pitt has officially won a huge victory over the joint custody of their children. TMZ reported that a judge made a tentative ruling in the case, awarding Brad and Angelina 50-50 joint legal and physical custody of their 5 minor children. The Maleficent star had been trying to bring certain shreds of evidence in order to resist Brad from becoming her partner in their kids' joint custody. She had been gunning for sole custody and bringing out numerous witnesses to prove Brad's alleged history of domestic violence. According to TMZ, Angelina only wanted Brad to have supervised visitation, but the judge felt her arguments that Brad was not a suitable parent lacked credibility. This judgment has been announced after analyzing numerous witnesses brought up by Angelina, including a testimonial against their oldest son, Maddox, submitted against Brad. The Mr. and Mrs. Smith actors, who started dating after meeting on the set of the film in 2004, separated in September 2016 after 2 years of marriage. They were declared legally single in April 2019. Now, continuing with the entertainment news, we have Trisha with more updates.
Thank you so much, Agastya. Moving forward. Friends Reunion. Here's how much the cast was paid for the special episode. Friends Reunion was a grand event for fans of the popular 90s sitcom. Global sensation BTS have also shot for the episode, and band members RM had once revealed that Friends acted as his English teacher. Back in the days when I was 15 to 14, it was quite like a syndrome for all the Korean parents to make their kids watch Friends. I thought I was kind like a victim at that time, but right now, I'm the lucky one, thanks to my mother. She bought me all 10 DVDs, all the seasons. So first I watched them with the Korean subtitles, and then I watched with the English subtitles, and then I just removed it. The main cast, Matt LeBlanc, Matthew Perry, David Schwimmer, Lisa Kudrow, Courtney Cox, and Jennifer Aniston reunited for an epic episode packed with special memories. For this iconic moment, the 6 stars of Friends were paid a fat check a little over rupees 18 crore per actor. Due to the pandemic, the shooting of this reunion special episode was delayed several times. Apart from the original cast, Friends Reunion also starred popular celebrities such as David Beckham, BTS, Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, Reese Witherspoon, Malala, Mindy Kaling, and Kate Harington also made an appearance on the show. Ben Winston has called the shots for this special episode. Thank you so much. Moving on to Rebecca.
Thank you. This was all for today's bulletin. Until we meet tomorrow, the next time with another bulletin.